Hello all and welcome back to my channel. My name is Pandey and today we are going to talk about device enrollment in Intune. So in this module we are going to talk about device enrollment in Intune, what all kinds of device type Intune can support, what are the enrolled device management capabilities of Microsoft Intune when device is enrolled in Intune, on what basis we need to compare and select the enrollment method for a specific platform, and then we will talk about enrollment methods for Windows operating system, Mac operating system, Android and iOS operating system, and the last we'll talk about device record cleanup criteria. So now let's start with a question: what is device enrollment in Intune? So in the last module we talked about the device management lifecycle, which starts from enrolling a device and then configuring a device. After that we need to protect a device, could be using a conditional access or app protection policy, and then once the device reaches to the end of life, then we need to retire a device. So device enrollment is the very first step to enroll the device. We as an admin can manage the device through Intune. It's very important to know why we are enrolling the device in Intune, and based on that we can choose the suitable method. Some enrollment requires admin to initiate enrollment, while other method required user to initiate it. We as an admin can deploy and enforce the policy through a management profile which will be installed on the device during and after enrollment. So by default enrollment is enabled for all the platforms in Intune portal. So Intune is supporting two types of devices. The very first type is a person owned device, meaning user wants to use their own device for accessing the company resources like email either from their personal PC or mobile. Intune is supporting bring your own devices, also known as BYOD enrollment. In this scenario, employee or a student needs to enroll their device by themselves through Intune company portal application. As an admin, we need to configure their enrollment experience and set up Intune policies in advance. Important catch is that these types of devices are generally Azure AD registered device, and Intune marked Azure AD device as a personally owned device. The second type of device is corporate owned device, which companies purchasing for their employee to perform organizational activity on daily basis. It could be a phone, tablet or PC. Intune automatically mark these type of device as a corporate device. This helps in managing and configuring devices with more control and access compared to the personally owned devices. These types of devices are either Azure AD device or hybrid Azure AD device. Now we know that Intune is supporting personal as well as corporate owned devices, and before moving into the enrollment methods and type of enrollment, let's talk about what we are going to achieve by enrolling device in Intune, or what capabilities we will get as an admin as well as a device user. So as a device user, we will gain access to the company portal, and we as a device user can install applications, enroll and remove device from self-service, and we can contact IT department or help desk for any kind of support. As an admin, we can enable device security and configurations, like we can configure configuration profiles or custom policies. We can perform remote actions like remote wipe, remote lock, and or passcode reset. We can also configure the device in a kiosk mode, and we can perform autopilot reset. We can manage the end-to-end application lifecycle and can configure iOS mobile apps and app provisioning profiles. We can easily manage different types of browser and configure them as per the company requirement. We can configure Windows Hello for Business for secure authentication. We can configure volume purchase application and can create profiles such as Wi-Fi profiles, email profiles, VPN profiles, as well as configure a conditional access policy to allow or deny the access on corporate resources based on the certain conditions. In this slide, we are going to compare the enrollment option with respect to user association, reset required, and the MDM profile removal. So enrollment option varies from operating system type, and for each device type, we have a minimum 2 to 3 enrollment method. And we need to choose a method which supports our requirement. Let's say we want to enroll a device, but we do not want to set the user association with the device. Then we need to see by which method we can achieve this. So in this scenario, we can only use either bulk enrollment or enroll the device using device enrollment manager. This table is showing that when we enroll a device, what will be the enrollment behavior based on the enrollment type. While selecting the enrollment option, we can consider these parameters like reset is required to enroll a device, what is the impact of user affinity, whether device are associated with user during enrollment or not, what is the impact of MDM profile removal part, if whether user can remove the MDM profile from an enrolled device or not. Based on the answers of these 3 questions, we can easily find the suitable enrollment option. Now let's talk about enrollment methods for Windows 10 and 11 operating system. So we can enroll Windows device through many methods. Some methods are user driven, meaning user needs to enroll the device either through company portal or by accessing work or school option. And some enrollments are admin driven methods in which admin needs to configure the settings so that device will be automatically enroll in the Intune portal. Commonly used enrollment methods are bring your own devices, also known as BYOD, in which users are allowed to bring their device and use company resources. In this case, user needs to use company portal to register the device in Intune. We can also use automatic enrollment via MDM scope, in which admin can set the MDM scope for all the users in the Intune portal, and when user is logging in Windows devices with Azure Active Directory credentials, then device is automatically going to register in Azure AD and automatically enroll in Intune. So this is the most common method used to enroll a device. In the same way, we can use automatic enrollment via group policy for on-premises domain joined devices. So that device will automatically enroll in Intune without user intervention. This method is used for domain joined devices. We can also use Windows autopilot method to enroll the device in Intune. So this is a commonly used for newly purchased device and can also use for existing device. To use this method, device should be in out of box experience window, and we need to upload the hardware hash and create and assign the deployment profile. We can also use device enrollment manager and bulk enrollment method for enrolling the bulk devices without user association. If we are using configuration manager, also known as SCCM, to manage the on-prem devices, then we can use co-management option with Microsoft Intune and configuration manager. This table is showing what is the behavior of reset required, user association, and whether user can remove the MDM profile or not. You can see that in case of BYOD scenario,
reset is not required and the person who is going to enroll the device is the primary owner of that device, they can remove the MDM profile just by unenrolling the device. In case of device enrollment manager, again the reset is not required, but there will be no user affinity and user can remove the MDM profile by unenrolling the device. In case of automatic enrollment via MDM, reset is not required and the person who is going to enroll the device is a primary owner of the device and they can remove the MDM profile by enrolling the device. In case of automatic enrollment via group policy, the same behavior, reset is not required, user is associated with the device and the user can remove the profile by enrolling the device. In case of Windows Autopilot, reset is required. User need to reset the device and only during out-of-box experience they can perform the autopilot. So the person who is going to perform the autopilot is the primary user of that device and they can remove the MDM profile by unenrolling the device at any point of time. In case of bulk enrollment, again the reset is not required. There will be no user affinity and user can remove the MDM profile.
In case of co-manage scenario, reset is not required. User is associated with the device and they can remove the MDM profile. Let's talk about Mac device enrollment. Like Windows, user can enroll their personal Mac devices using company portal, or device manager can also enroll the device in Intune. Device enrollment manager can enroll up to 1000 devices without any user association. Mac device can also be enrolled via Apple automated device enrollment. This allows admin to automatically enroll large number of devices without even touching them. This is similar to Windows Autopilot. To enable automatic device enrollment, we can either use Intune portal or Apple Business Manager portal or even Apple School Manager portal. We need to add the list of serial number or a purchase orders so that we can assign device to the Intune for management, and then we need to create a automated deployment enrollment profile in Intune which will apply to the device during enrollment. This table is showing what is the behavior for reset required, user association, and can user remove the MDM profile during the enrollment or after enrollment.
In case of BYOD scenario for Mac enrollment, reset is not required and the person who is going to enroll a Mac device is the owner of that device and they can remove the MDM profile by unrolling the device. In case of device enrollment manager for Mac enrollment, reset is not required. There will be no user affinity, but user can remove the MDM profile. In case of Apple automated device enrollment, reset is required. This is similar to your autopilot in Windows 10 where we need to reset a device and the user affinity and MDM removal profile settings can be configured. So if admin wants user to remove their profile while enrolling, they can allow. Similarly, they can allow user association as well. Let's briefly talk about iPad and iOS enrollment. So user can enroll their device using company portal, or device enrollment manager can also enroll the device in bulk. We can use automated device enrollment for iPad and iOS, and this is similar to automated device enrollment for Mac. Setup assistant enrollment via USB or device enrollment via USB is another option for iPad and iOS enrollment. This table is again showing what is the behavior for reset required, user association, and can user remove the MDM profile when enrolling the device or after enrolling the device. In case of BYOD scenario, reset is not required. User is associated with the device and user can remove their MDM profile. Again, for device enrollment manager, reset is not required. There will be no user affinity and user can remove their MDM profile just by enrolling the device. In case of automated device enrollment, reset is required and then user affinity and MDM profile can be configured to allow user to remove their MDM profile or deny it. In the same way, for setup assistant enrollment via USB, reset is required and then admin can configure the user affinity, and in case of MDM profile removal, it is set to yes, meaning user can remove the MDM profile or they can unenroll their device from Intune portal. In case of device enrollment via USB, reset is not required, user affinity is also not associated, and then but the user can remove their MDM profile.
Let's talk about the Android enrollment methods. For Android device enrollment method, we have many options. Broadly, we can divide these into two main categories based on the device ownership. Device ownership could be either personally owned or corporate owned. If it is a personally owned device, we can either use Android device administrator method to allow user to enroll the device, or we can use Android enterprise with work profile method, in which admin can only manage the work profile created on the device during enrollment and not the entire device. User can initiate the enrollment by signing in the company portal app with their work or school account and can remove their MDM profile by unenrolling the device. So if you want to use an Android device admin enrollment type, then reset is not required and the person who is going to enroll the device is the owner of that device and they can remove the MDM profile just by unenrolling the device through company portal. In case of Android enterprise personally owned with work profile, it's a user initiated enrollment via company portal, and in that case also reset is not required and the person who is going to enroll the device via company portal is the primary owner of that device and they can remove the MDM profile just by unenrolling the device through company portal. In case of corporate owned Android device, we can configure and enroll the device by many ways based on the requirement. We can either use user associated or userless device created from Android open source project. We can use Android enterprise dedicated method to enroll the device, and this is mainly used to configure the device in kiosk mode. We can use Android enterprise fully managed, where we are going to manage the entire device and can control and restrict all the settings. We can also use Android enterprise with work profile, in which companies allowing to use the company owned device for personal use, as well as companies only going to manage the work profile installed on the device. In case of Android user associated or Android userless, we need to enroll via QR code. The only difference is that with user associated, the person who is going to enroll the device is associated with that device, and in case of userless, there will be no user affinity. And in both the cases, we can configure whether user is allowed to remove the MDM profile or not. In case of Android device admin, enrollment type, device enrollment manager can initiate the enrollment from company portal, and in that case we no need to reset the device. There will be no user affinity, but we can user can remove the MDM profile. In case of device Android device admin, again this user initiated via company portal with IME or serial number, which we already uploaded in the Intune or their Apple School or Business Manager portal. In that case, reset is again required. Sorry, not required. Reset is not required, but the person who is going to enroll the device is the owner of that device, and they can remove the MDM profile. So we have another type of enrollment called Android Enterprise Dedicated, in which we need to use either token based enrollment or QR code enrollment or Google Touch zero touch enrollment. In that case, reset is required and there will be no user affinity, and we can allow user to remove the MDM profile or not. In case of Android Enterprise fully owned device, in which company is going to manage entire devices, not just the some portion of devices, and then we can enroll those devices via token based QR code or even with Google zero touch, and reset is required to perform the installation, and the person who is going to register or enroll the device is the owner of that device, and admin can configure whether user can unenroll the device or remove the MDM profile or not. In case of Android Enterprise corporate owned with work profile, where company allows user to use the company devices for their personal use, and company is only going to manage the work profile created on the device during enrollment. In that case, either we need to use token based enrollment or a QR code, or again a zero touch Google zero touch method to enroll the device. Again, in this case also reset is required. The person who is going to enroll the device is the primary owner of the device, and we can configure whether the user is allowed to remove the MDM profile by uninstalling using company portal. Now let's talk about device record cleanup criteria. So by default, when any device enroll in Microsoft Intune, the MDM server is issuing a certificate to create a trust relationship, and this certificate is renewing automatically as and when enrolled device are communicating to Microsoft Intune services. So this is okay when devices are regularly communicating to Intune services, but what if they are not communicating because of any reason? So reason could be a synchronization issue or device has been wiped out. In this case, Microsoft Intune will wait for 6 months, that is 180 days after the MDM certificate expires, and then Intune is going to remove the device from support as a stale record. I hope this is an informative video for you. Thank you very much for watching this video.